All right, everybody. Welcome back to the next episode of the Fabric of Culture podcast. Very excited for this interview because I have with me Davin Gentry, who is the founder of one of the hottest streetwear companies called Diet Starts Monday. So very excited to dive into his background, how he started the company, and where it's at now. So Davin, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So we'll dive right in. Before everything got started, you grew up in Kentucky, and your love of fashion really started when you were creating one-of-one pieces when you were younger. Can you tell us a little bit more about how that started, and then how that almost spiraled into your love of fashion?
Yeah, I think Kentucky, especially where I'm from, Western Kentucky, Madisonville, we we weren't close to any real cities. Like the closest city was Nashville, which is like a little over an hour. So fashion, just even finding clothes in general was kind of like a challenge because we just proximity wise, we just didn't have anything around us. So Um, I started painting clothes just because, like, who always wants to go an hour, 2 hours away to find something? And so I was painting clothes for myself, and I was already I was already intrigued by fashion, but like being a fashion designer wasn't something that just like we didn't know that there were that this was even a job title. Like we knew that there were clothes and that they were made and somehow in the stores, but we didn't know like where they came from or anything like that. So when I was doing it, it was never like, oh, I could do this and make a career out of it. It was at first it was like I was doing it for myself. The homies wanted it, and that kind of spread a little bit. But even then, like that early on, when it was like I was painting a lot of shirts, it still was never like, oh, this is it. This is what I'm gonna do for life. Like it was just kind of like a hustle for however long. And I mean, honestly, I did it for probably like 7 years. With pretty much full time. And even but still, like I said, it was never like it was just kind of I've always looked at things like just kind of like a ladder. And you're on this notch for however long, and then you pull yourself up to the next notch. And I was always looking at it like it was just like another step in the ladder. But
Hmm.
uh, I think that what I fell in love with was the I think that's when I really like fell into my creative side. I always was creative growing up as a kid, like drawing and painting and whatever. But I think doing that before, it's like it's always your own idea. And then when I'm painting custom shirts, it's you coming to me saying like, "Hey, I want to paint a picture of my dad who recently passed away, but I want X, Y, and Z, and I want these colors." And so then you have like a foundation of what they want the idea to be, but then I have to be the one to make it come to life. And so I think that's what I fell in love with was the just the creative side of it, less about the fashion side, but just like figuring out how to make things come to life. And then as always, like that evolves and it turns into something else and something else. And here we are, like, I don't even know, 20 years later, and we're X amount of steps up the ladder, but they've all been like a significant part of the foundation that kind of like boosted me up to the next level.
Got it. Okay. And yeah, honestly love whenever creatives, see that evolution. It's like, hey, like this isn't just a passion. Like this can, be almost my life's work. So that's amazing. Now, Diet Starts Monday wasn't your first entrepreneurial venture. Can you tell us a little bit more about the first company you started, and how that was centered around jewelry? Obviously, you have 2J's, which is a really hot direct to consumer jewelry company, but would love to hear a little bit more about what you started first.
So it was like, I mean, technically the first company was the hand painted shirts. Um, that then led to another company that was jewelry, which I bring this up because that's how we started Premium, the official jewelry company. But I had another custom company that was it was back in like I don't even know the mid 2000s, late 2000s. There was a company out of New York called Goodwood, and they created wooden and engraved like necklaces and bracelets and things like that. It was all wooden beads and things, but they would create different pendants, and they were, I mean, extremely popular. And it, one of the kind of touching back on the part about Kentucky and the proximity of like not being close to things, that kind of served as a benefit too, because we weren't by any of this stuff. I could kind of find out about it, and then I could bring it to our area, and I would be the only person that had ever heard of it or whatever. So I kind of saw that as an opportunity to create a similar thing. But Goodwood was more like they made their designs and sold it. I had a company. My company was called Neck of the Woods, and mine was pretty much all custom. So I kind of tied back the custom part of the hand painted clothing into the jewelry. So while I'm doing that for a couple years, a customer reaches out to me and he's like, "Hey, I love the stuff that you made. I was wondering if you had access to gemstone beads because I'm looking to create I'm looking to make gemstone bracelets." And the place that I got all of my beads from for Neck of the Woods, they had gemstones and all kind of things. So me and him decided to team up and just order some beads and see what we could come up with. And really quickly, like we noticed that like I don't know, it was just gaining traction really quickly. Granted, this is 2011, so it's like the birth of Instagram. Seemed like everything around that time just kind of caught fire quickly. But before we knew it, we had like a lot of people wanting the bracelets, and we were making, I don't even know, 20, 30 a day, and all of them were selling. And we just kind of were like, maybe we should kind of explore this and see what we can grow it into. And then the gemstone bracelets led to finding a jeweler who could make molds for pendants, for necklaces and rings, and just a way to like elevate just from not just gemstones, but to angel necklaces and Jesus necklaces and like all of these things. And then the popularity just kind of kept growing and growing. But I just kind of always had that fashion side still like in the back of my head. And it was never to like kind of take away from the jewelry side. It was just more to add to it. I wanted to just turn the brand. I didn't even say the brand was called Premium Co. And it was gemstone bracelets that led into the Jesus pieces and all of those things. We started we started throwing out like little clothing pieces here and there, like a t-shirt and a sweatshirt and a hat and all of these things. And we really started to see that like people are liking this stuff just as much as the jewelry. And as time went on, we just kind of kept rolling out more fashion pieces. And the fashion just kind of like the clothing just kind of like started just outrunning the jewelry for us, so much to where the jewelry kind of phased out by probably, I'd say by year 3, we pretty much were fully done with jewelry, and it was just now it was a clothing line. It was no more jewelry. Um, and we had that from 2011 until 2017, and even kind of like the same concept of like we started diet not necessarily to kill premium. It was supposed to be to kind of have these two brands that both offer different different looks and different just items, but diet just kind of outran premium so quickly that we just decided to put all the energy into diet because I always live by this like philosophy of like filling vessels or glasses, and it's like I only have this much energy. I could put as much energy into the diet vessel and as much energy into the premium vessel, but neither of them are going to get fully filled up. Or I could put all into one of them and fill that up. And so diet was the one that just felt like it kind of it kind of checked all boxes. It allowed me to create as like a graphic designer that premium code never really allowed me to do so because the premium product was a menswear essentials, kind of like comparable to like a John Elliott or uh I can't even think of anybody around right now that's still doing it, but just like basics, no branding really other than like a neck label, and but just like really high quality fabric, nice like modern fits and silhouettes, and just kind of like a really clean professional look. And at that time, that's what was around. Like graphic tees weren't really a popular, like they weren't everywhere like they are now. Like every brand is like a graphic brand pretty much right now. Even brands that have historically only been like non-graphic, those brands are like, even John Elliott is putting out graphic tees, and Fear of God is offering graphic tees, and these are brands that have never kind of done that. So I say that because at that time there just weren't graphics around. And premium, while I wanted to like put graphics out, it's just the customers never really kind of, they never really wanted that from us, and it's like it doesn't make sense to kind of try to fit um a square into a circle slot. So there's no point in making premium into something that the customers are telling us they don't want that. And so diet let me kind of use my graphic design background, my creative background, and just like really play in like a really graphic heavy space. And then as we've built the brand and grown, our customers have also grown with us to where now some of these customers, they have enough graphic tees. They want some of the basics. And so now we can offer some of the stuff that's a little more dialed back, which kind of gets us back to the premium co aesthetic, to where premium kind of, we can kind of look at it as like it never really like left. It just kind of stayed in the background until it was time to kind of make a return. And now we're starting to roll out more premium style, basic looking pieces that kind of makes it more of like a full circle moment for us. But so yeah, it was my hand painted clothing, Gully Originals. It was Neck of the Woods. That led to Premium Co. Premium Co. led to Diet Starts Monday, which has been I don't know, that little transition alone is like a 20-year period because I started the hand painted clothing basically like in high school. So it's
Yeah,
been
I
a
love the
long journey.
evolution.
Yeah,
Yeah,
me too.
absolutely. I think one really interesting thing that you just said that I think not all but some founders kind of get trapped where you really listen to the customer. You know, you saw that the clothing piece was taking off much faster than the jewelry. And I think some brand owners get stuck in the, oh well, this was kind of my baby. This was the first project. Like I still want this to live. And when in reality it's like, hey, this is great, but you have a massive market that really wants this other product. So I'm really glad you leaned into that. And speaking of diet, one of my favorite things about the brand was just how you came up with the name and the fact that you kind of saw like, oh well, we kind of procrastinated getting this off the ground, and so that's where the name came from. But tell us a little bit more about the brand ethos and what you really think about with each and every collection as you bring it to market?
Yeah, I mean, we like diet could have almost never existed because we procrastinated so long. Like we put it off for years, not even just like on purpose, just like life, just like sometimes if like starting a brand and getting it off the ground really kind of takes a lot of work. And so we already had multiple other things going on to where it was like, where do we even find the time to devote to this other one? And so we started like, I think late 2016, we were like, okay, like we're not procrastinating anymore. Like let's get this going, or let's put it to bed and never speak of it again. And so Diet Starts Monday, we we were brainstorming about names, but we only threw out Diet Starts Monday. That was the only name that was ever even mentioned. And it was meant to be. Like it was symbolic of how we procrastinated, how everybody puts things off till the first of the month, or January 1st or whatever. And so many people put things off that end up never kind of seeing the light of day, or coming to fruition. So that was kind of like the birth. But even then we didn't really dive like super deep into the procrastination part and just how much that resonated with people. And then once we launched, then we were kind of like saying like, well, this is why we called it this. And we saw just how many people, just like everybody would come up to us like, oh, like I say the same thing, like Diet Starts Monday, like I put this off, blah, blah, blah. And so that's when we really started to be like, okay, maybe that's the ethos of the brand, is like kind of showing people like, hey, this is what you can do if you actually do take the steps to put an idea into motion, and things like that. So now we play on that a lot, where there's like, we have a saying that's like, I'll start Monday, I promise. And that's a big seller. We have another one that's like, I've been saying Diet Starts Monday for 3 years now. And that's, people think that it's like, oh, like this was like a 3-year anniversary of the brand. And it's like, no, sometimes people put things off for 3 years before they even, and that's what we did. We started talking about this brand like 2014, and it didn't launch until 2017. So we were saying like that we were going to do this thing for 3 years, and then we finally did it. So um, that's kind of the foundation of the anti-procrastination that we try to live by. Um, and then design language for me is just, I think, because we wanted the brand to not be pigeonholed into like a certain, just a, like, we didn't want to be just this brand. We wanted to be a brand that could, like, we can make candles, we can make rugs, we can make a chair. Like we wanted to be, we kind of always looked at the brand as like a laboratory for whatever ideas like we could cook up. And since launching, I think we showed the world that like we weren't just a normal brand. First, we launched with the restaurant and bar in DC that, at the time, nobody was intersecting like really food with fashion. And there's brands that have done it since. And I won't say that we started it, because there were definitely retailers that had food components, but from like a brand, I had never really seen that. But down to product, like we were releasing like skateboard decks and like coffee sets and candles, and just like things that like most brands don't come out with until they're probably like a little bit more senior in the industry. But that's because we wanted to kind of show people like, hey, we're not just like a t-shirt brand or a sweatshirt brand. Like we're we're a laboratory. We're like we're gonna experiment with whatever products and ideas we have. And like we like because we're not just consumers of what we wear, like we're consumers of like coffee table books and art and all of these things. So I think that's just how we kind of created, I guess, our pillars. So it's like, okay, we have your normal product, which is your evergreen product, which is your t-shirts, sweatshirts, all of that stuff. And then you
Mm.
have this pillar, which is home goods pillar, because we want to extend the diet product into your home, like outside of your closet onto your coffee table type thing. And then there's performance product, because with a name like Diet Starts Monday, like that applies most to dieting and working out and things like that. But we're not a workout brand, but there are a lot of people who love to work out in product that says Diet Starts Monday, because that's what a lot of these fitness people are living by daily. And so we started to see like these pillars kind of naturally form, but it was always based on what the consumer was kind of like supporting. So like we'll do things, we call them experiments, where we'll test like a small run of this and see how it goes. And based on how it goes, that kind of lets us know like, okay, the consumer doesn't like us in this area, or hey, there's something here. Like let's revisit that down the line. And so having all of these different kind of pillars lets me design a really loud t-shirt one day, a pair of sunglasses made in Japan the next day, a shoe made in Italy the next day. Uh, I don't know, this tea set like made this day. And so I kind of get the not the flexibility, but the I guess the free reign of just like kind of getting back to like where when I started, or just designing and creating like whatever comes to mind. And then hopefully I think we've kind of learned at this point that people people buy into the brand because of good product, but people buy into the brand because of the creators as well. And like the creators are kind of like dictating uh what is cool. Like some people may not have any uh like like we did this hat. This was our first hat that we ever made, had this strap closure, which is super unique, but it serves such a good purpose, because for people that have a big head like myself, like I could wear this on this last snap, where somebody who has a smaller head could fit this one, but then it still serves like more of a luxury purpose. But this isn't something that most people have ever seen. So us as creators have kind of a duty to put new ideas in front of people. And like I said, once we see, like, okay, they support us in this area, then it kind of lets us know, like, all right, we have this pillar. Let's add that. Now let's see what other pillars we can kind of create around. So the the name kind of was like the foundation for anti-procrastination, but because we set it up as a laboratory from day one, we now can kind of make whatever we would like and intend to. And so it's luckily for us and for the consumer, things are always kind of ever changing, because we're not stuck in that pigeonhole, like I said we were trying to avoid from day one.
Right. And I think that probably gives you a lot more space to be creative, and it gets customers excited because they know they can always expect something different from you guys. There is
Yeah.
one thing I want. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I think that if you like we have this conversation a lot where like if things get too redundant, that's how you see like uh turnover within a brand where like our customer turnover, like if this customer's been with us for 2 years and they've only seen us do the same thing over and over for the last 24 months, they're probably like, even though it may not be a conscious thing, it may just be like a natural progression for them to phase out and go to the next cool brand because there's a million others every 5 minutes. I don't know what the stat is, but like I see new brands every time I open the phone. So we have another duty as brand owners and creatives to kind of continuously try to push some type of new idea out there, or else you're kind of like stuck on a treadmill that's just you're just running out of customers because they're just going to phase their way out. So but also too for me, I get tired of things very quickly, so I'm constantly like needing to create new things for me and my personal whether it be closet or just like a personal thing that idea that I want to get off. I get tired of things instantly. Normally, by the time you guys see our product, I've been sick of it for like 6 months by now because I probably started designing it 18 months before it came out. And by the time it does come out, I'm like, I could wish I didn't even have to look at this anymore. But um, that makes it, it's just everything is just uh, like one gear. And like by the time you guys are seeing it, like my part of the gear is all the way over here, but yours is up here. And everybody is like one hamster wheel where the hamster maybe is like ahead of everybody, but the cage is still like turning. And I don't know, it's such an interesting space to like, it's a lot of responsibility for us to just kind of like this is our livelihood that we're kind of depending on making this a brand that's like sustaining itself and growing and thriving so that our people that work for us have income and like all of these things. And so it's very it once it becomes like a business, it becomes a business to where you have to make sure like you're doing everything you possibly can to make sure that that business succeeds, which means taking everything into consideration about like, okay, why did this customer stop shopping with us after 14 months? Or why did this customer buy this month, but he didn't buy again until 8 months later? Like what happened along all of these months? And so many like data points that turn fun brand into, not that the business part isn't fun, but it just turns it into kind of like this super delicate creature that you really have to tend to. Um, but luckily for us, like we're not at like a shortage or loss of ideas. And I think part of that too is just because of having all of those pillars that we can lean on. So but you were saying something and I cut you off. You probably
Oh, no. That was I love actually hearing all of that, and especially that you guys are taking analytics so seriously, because I think that's another pitfall for some founders. It's like, hey, I really want to do this, even despite all the analytics and data telling me to go in another direction. But I know you said you didn't necessarily start the trend, but I do want to give you your flowers in the sense of you were one of the very early brands to do this in terms of having some type of restaurant or food combination with the brand. How do you feel about brands that are doing it now? I know YSL opened up a Sushi Park location in one of their Paris locations. Louis Vuitton is doing the same thing with a few of their stores. There's another luxury company I'm blanking on that is doing the same thing in Hong Kong. And obviously Kith with Kith's Treats. how do you feel like that motion has evolved? And, what do you still like that people are doing that? Do you think it might be a little played out? Like, how are you looking at that?
I mean, I definitely think that it people want people want to get as many things out of a one-stop shop as possible. So, and that was our goal with our space is like you come for clothing, you grab a drink, you grab food. We have the playoffs being projected on like a big screen or whatever. We have live DJ. It turns into like a party at night. So you really could come and you could spend a full day there and it not feel like it because we were providing so much value. I think now I think a lot of people just see like, oh, this store put a coffee shop in there and that gets people that gets people in the door. And I've seen it where some stores put the coffee shop in there and the coffee shop ends up becoming the bigger business model than the brand. Um I don't dislike it. I mean, I think it's been around for a while. Like Barney's had a restaurant, Bergdorf has a restaurant. People have done it. I think Kith Treats brought like a new spin on things, which I would imagine there's probably tons of people like copying the same thing, and we just maybe haven't heard of heard of them doing that yet. But um, I mean, you see it too with like Paris Fashion Week. Like every brand showroom partners with the coffee shop. Um, and so much to where like a few years ago that was like the cutting edge idea. Like, oh, like we'll put a coffee shop in there and that'll drive people to the showroom. Or not even drive people to the showroom, but that'll just be like a cool thing that it's a value add. But now everybody does it. So now it's just like it's just another thing. So again, I think everything is about evolution. And people have asked us since we closed our space with the restaurant was only supposed to be a 3-month pop-up. And it was such a staple in DC that the landlords were like, hey, like this is really good for this street because they had other businesses over there as well that people would leave our place at night and go next door to the other bar that stayed open later than ours or things like that. And so they asked us to extend the wasn't really a lease, but like extend the agreement to stay another 3 months. And then that turned into like another 3 months. And then before we knew it, we were there like almost 2 years. Um, but we closed at the end of 2018. And people have asked since closing, like, are you gonna ever reopen that idea or revisit it or whatever? And we talk about it a lot, but for me, it's just like if I can't do it and do it differently and better than what else is out there, then I don't really have that much desire to do it. While I do have the desire to revisit that idea, I just haven't figured out like, okay, well, what's that look like in 2026, 2027? Like we did that 10 years ago. Like what does that look like now? Like, how do we make it to where, because you have Mad Happy, they have a coffee shop, Represent, they have a coffee shop. Like, everybody has a coffee shop, which granted, these are coffee shops and not restaurants, but the restaurant side of it is extremely difficult. Anybody in the restaurant industry would tell you that that's probably why all of these people have coffee shops is because food cost and hiring like top quality chefs and like all of these things are such a expensive overhead. So, um, but my bad for rambling. To answer your question, like I think that I think that what people are doing is what they think is best for getting people into their doors, and not like I can only respect that because as I have said, like our sole focus is what can we do to make our customers happy and keep them coming back, and not only keep them coming back, but coming back and bringing a friend, so that the one customer now turns into two, and then it it grows and grows. So um but the honest, like, critique of it is like it all kind of looks the same. um and there's no diss to them. It's just like it's cool and it takes a lot to execute it. It's just kind of like what's next, and I don't have the answer, or else I would have done it. So that's why I say it's no diss to them. I think it's everybody's trying to figure out what the next thing is so they can execute it before somebody else. But um I mean, I like going in Bergdorf and like shopping, and then being able to sit down and eat a lobster roll, or like that's fun to me. So it's all about value adds, and how you can give the customer more reason to stay longer, and talk about the experience, and all of these things. Those I think that's why we do have customers that have been with us since, not only since 2017 when we launched Diet, but we have customers that were buying my hand painted shirts in 2006. And we have people that still have premium code t-shirts from 2013. And I think it's because of the value that we try to provide, whether it be in the product or the customer service, or like people the actually, I don't even know if I want to say this part, but my since it's our Shopify, my phone number is what is attached to people's billing statements on their credit card. So when people have an issue, they call my phone, which is, it can be annoying, but it also is like, I kind of don't think I would want it any other way, because I can help these customers one on one with like whatever issue they have. And your first instinct is like why is my phone number on this? Shouldn't something else be on here? But then it's like, at the end of the day, uh like I'm the leader of this crew. But so I think that, I don't know, it's just like something kind of like I don't even know what the word is, but I guess just like the intent that we have within the brand is like we genuinely want to treat the people as like, we don't look at them necessarily as just like customers. Like we look at them as like supporters of our brand. Like people are texting me like, or DMing me like, "Oh, thank you for this release. Like this is amazing." I'm like, "Why are you thanking me? Like you bought it. Like I thank you for buying it." It's such a crazy world. And I won't say that they're like wrong for thinking that. It's just like, that's how much we value their support, is like they're valuing us like, "Oh, like thank you, like this is amazing." It's like, bro, I just designed some cool stuff and made it. You guys buying it is what allows me to do it. So thank you guys for supporting it. But yeah, it's I like we retail is still dying, I think. Like there's a lot of stores that don't make it, but the stores that you do see making it are the ones that are like figuring out how to pivot. Like, okay, maybe we put this in here. Maybe we turned this back part into a speakeasy at night, and like all of these things. Like you have to be thinking, if you want to keep your store, you have to be thinking about always, how can we give more? Like what can we do? And it's not always like a money thing. Sometimes it's literally just like, "Oh, we already have this stuff in place. If we readjust the idea, like now we have this other business model that provides more revenue for the business, blah, blah, blah." So um I commend them for all of these things. I think Kith treats. I think people thought that it would be a fad, but I still see people today. And Kith has been around. The store has probably been around since, I don't know. They're probably on like 14, 15-year anniversary, and I still see people all the time like posting their Kith treats, like when they go to whatever new store Ronnie's opened, and that's what you need to have a successful store. Is you need people that want to like show people that they did this, like that this is cool. I know it's cool. I'm showing you that I went and did like that's what all of that is. That's what that post is for, is showing you like I know what Kith Treats is. So kudos to everybody who's trying to add value.
Absolutely. And I do want to go back just really quick to what you said about like, oh, you guys are thanking me. Like I want to thank you. I think that's such a beautiful thing because when you have that mutual appreciation between the brand and the fans and the customers, that's what really creates community nowadays, right? It's just like, hey, like I can depend on Diet Starts Monday when I want really dope pieces in my wardrobe. And then, you as a brand owner, it's like, hey, like I know if I'm firing on all cylinders and our team, really is locked in, we can be able to put out something in the market that everybody really loves.
Yeah, I mean, I think as the brand grows, you start to be able to put people in position to allow you to get back to cuz I mean, our team is still extremely small, but you start to get you get so wrapped up in, oh, I got this meeting, I got this deadline, I got this trade show, I got this complex con, I got blah blah blah. But you still have to find time to design, and you still have to find time to think about marketing campaigns and where are we going to shoot this? How do we want it shot? Like, what do we want that message to be? And then you have social media is a whole other monster now that it takes a different set of skills now to master social media compared to 10 years ago when you could just post whatever and everybody would see it, and et cetera, et cetera. And so all of these things take place to where it makes it very easy to be damn, we've had the same poly bag that our garments are in for the last 2 years. Like, the customer's probably sick of that. We need to give them something new. But because we're so focused on all of these things, you kind of get sidetracked from what kind of set you apart in the beginning. And so, but then as like I said, as the business grows, you start to be able to say okay, we're going to bring in this person to handle this. We're going to bring in this team to handle social media, which lets me not have to figure that part out and not have to figure this part out. And now I can get back to okay, we have our collection designed. How else can we provide value to the customer? Like, what new technology can we put into the garment that creates a new experience? Or what can we do for Complex Con that makes people want to come to the booth? And so now that's kind of the point we're at now, is finally getting people in place that lets kind of I'm also a big advocate for me. So my business partner Tyler, I feel I feel bad sometimes, but he really his goal is honestly to help me and help the brand. Like, every decision he makes is to help. And sometimes that means he's doing things that he might not be efficient in, but he's doing it to take things off my plate so that I can focus on something else. But him doing it it may take me 5 minutes to do it. It may take him 2 hours to do it. And
Mm,
so, but he's trying to save me the 5 minutes. And so he'll take on that load. And I've been trying over the last couple of years to just be like, I appreciate that you're trying to help, but like I would rather you spend that 2 hours focusing on the things that you're the very best at and let me take on the thing that would take me 5 minutes that I've spent my whole life doing. Um, and that way I can focus on what I'm best at, you focus on what you're best at. And that way we're giving our best to the brand. And so I think that that's kind of the beauty of all of it goes like hand in hand. It's one gear or one cog that like everything controls the machine from like the customers to our team to all of this. And so like the better I can provide here, the better they can provide there, the better product that we can put out, the more the customer support it, the more we can bring in people to place in the positions that allow everybody to kind of focus on what they're best at. That way we all kind of have the best performing machine that we can have, which is never it never runs as smoothly as that, but um that's the goal. But um I don't remember what the initial even
mm.
topic was, but I do like I want people to like if there were like a couple things that I could like really hammer home, one of them would be that like try to put people in position to allow everybody to focus on what they're best at, which is it's very much easier said than done. Like it's taken us 10 years to try to figure out how to do that and how to afford it and knowing what's okay to spend on doing it and things like that. But
Mhm.
in the very beginning, everybody's kind of like sweat equity anyway. So in the beginning, there's no money at all. Everybody has to just kind of like fill the role, but you need to be kind of figuring out people in the beginning that have these skills to kind of get you from point A to point Z. I saw a quote that I think it's a Jay-Z quote actually that was like something about like having 100% ownership or having full ownership could lead you to failure or something like that. And I couldn't agree more. I think that our last brand, me and my partner had the full company, all 100%. But I won't say it failed, but if it had been more successful, we would have never let it just kind of like sit by the wayside while we got diet off the ground. And I think you really have to try to find partners, whether it be investors or whoever, that are really there to kind of do the work, um, to so that everybody can kind of like live to their full potential within a brand structure. Like if you're good at this, like I don't need you. If you're good at like numbers and analytics, I don't need you trying to handle some graphics that I literally know like the back of my hand. Like I
Right.
don't know the analytics side. Like you go do that and like make that make that shit like top tier. Let me do this part. And if there are things that they're falling through the cracks, like we have to figure out who to put in those positions to to clean those up. But um it's just
Absolutely.
the I'm kind of like not speechless, but I'm kind of just like really now through saying all of this, just seeing how much everything is connected in terms of like I said, without the customers, we can't have money to put these people in position, but we can't have the customers if we don't have the people in positions to apply the best design, the best production management, the best sourcing of fabric, like all of this stuff. So it's truly such a, like, these, everybody, you almost could look at these consumers of the brands as like employees of, or like investors of the business, because without them you can't get to the next level to be able to put these people in position. So uh, hopefully any consumers seeing this kind of understand how, at least how Diet Starts Monday, how we view the people that support us.
For sure. I want to switch over a little bit to like the marketing and partnership side. So obviously there's been several celebrities that have been spotted, wearing Diet Starts Monday. So Devin Booker, most recently Bow Wow and Soldier Boy are targeting those key public figures part of the marketing strategy. Does it happen organically? Is it a little bit of both? How do you approach that? Because I know up and coming brands sometimes fall into into the trap of, oh, I have to get this in, insert this person's name here into their hand so like we can catch them wearing it someday, right? But if it's not really organic, and especially if you're trying to force it when you're brand new, that can fall flat. So how do you all approach that?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny too because we have, I don't know if it's because we've been in the business so long, or I was I was having a conversation with my granny the other day about, this is when I go home, they're obviously like just so proud, and they have so many questions, the same question, like, oh, like, how did you get this? How did you get that? And I was talking about how like our relationships we've really like nurtured over these 15 years of being in this particular industry. And I was like, I think because we've all worked our way up. So like when we first hit the trade show in 2011, or I think 2011, 2012, we we were just starting Premium Co. And we were meeting people who were like an intern at this store, or maybe a buyer at this store, or like an assistant to this person. And then you come back the next show, and now the assistant is, maybe he's actually a buyer now, or he's a stylist, or he's this or that. But he's like a step higher on his ladder. And you come back the next show, and now we're showing at the show. We have our own booth. So now we're elevated. But now this guy who was a buyer at this store is now like some role at Nike. And then you come back the next, let's say 2 years later, and now he's like even higher, and she's here. Like it's just, everybody's just working their way up over the years. And so I kind of like credited that to like, when she was like, oh, how did you get this? How did you get that? I was like, I think it's these relationships that
Hmm.
we've kept over the years. And she was asking about the relationships in particular, about like, well, like, why do you think you have that relationship? And I was like, well, it's because of, like, we saw these people year after year after year. And she's like, yeah, but that's not how relationships are nurtured. Or like, she's like, you have to have something that like attracts the relationship, to where it's like, she's like, it's not just like, relationships don't just work. Like you have to, they kind of like have to be made to work. And I was like, man, maybe that's a good point. She's in her 80s. She's been around, like she's been through everything. So
Hmm.
um I'm like, damn, maybe there is something special about like us as like, I won't say maybe, like I know there's something special about us, but at first I kind of was just like, oh, like it's just what happens in the industry. Like that's just how it works. But she's like, no, it's not. Like there's more to it that you're not giving yourself credit for. But so, to your point about like celebrities, and like like the Bow Wow thing was like a store that we were cool with. Like I think they gave that vest to Bow Wow, and like Jason Tatum, it's like a stylist that we were cool with. he styles Jason Tatum, and now it's a new stylist, but we're cool with her as well. And so I do think that it's a little bit about what I think it's what Granny said, and I think it's us. I think it's us and like attracting good people because we try to take care of people. And then on the flip side, I think that it is because we have nurtured these relationships, that because we have taken care of people, that they now that the brand is like a little bit more undeniable. Like at first it was kind of people were like, I don't know, like it's kind of gimmicky, it's kind of quirky, like I don't really know if I like it. But then as like the brand grows and then they start to see it in these stores and they start to see these celebrities wear it, and it does start to add validity. It's not part of our like strategy to get this stuff on people. If people hit us up like, oh, like I'm styling this person, or I work at this agency, we represent all of these athletes, like we'll seed them a handful of pieces. But most of the times the stuff that we see people wearing, it's people that bought it, or the stylist like directly put it on them. But a lot of the times we're seeing like we'll see like Tyrese Maxey of 76ers pull up in his tunnel walk, like a full diet fit. And it's not a thing that we gifted or anything. It's like somebody, either his stylist put him in it or he bought it. 90% of the time when we seed the stuff to these people, we never see any of them wear it. But it is something that you do in hopes that like either you do see them wear it at like an event or tunnel walk or something like that. But then there's also something that we kind of refer to internally as like locker room runoff, basically. So it's like the trickle down effect where Jason Tatum might wear it in the Celtics locker room, and then another player in the locker room see it and be like, oh, like they may have never heard of it. They'd be like, oh, that's dope. What is that? And they may not go buy it, but then maybe when they go to a Nordstrom or something like that, they see it and then it clicks and they're like, oh, this is the brand Tatum had on. I'm going to buy it. So there's kind of that locker room trickle down effect that you hope happens as well. But yeah, it's never like, it definitely is never part of our goal to just like reach out to somebody and be like, yo, we have to get this on you, because unfortunate part about that is like it doesn't really do much for the brand other than just like the fact that people see that person wearing it and kind of endorsing it. But that doesn't really like, it's kind of one of those things we spoke to off camera about a lot of things not directly correlating to sales.
Mhm.
Uh, and so there's a lot of that. But I mean, 10 years ago though, like that strategy was like king. Like somebody could have 50,000 followers and they post your stuff and you probably would get 1,000 followers from it and your website would probably go crazy and all of these things. But we could have an athlete with 300 million followers post and tag us, and people like, we might get like 5 followers from it and you might see like a sale. Um, the one interesting kind of like instance we had with celebrities in general that we still haven't figured out. There's usually I try to like figure out like why, like what caused that. But Steph Curry, we did a collab with Steph like 2023, I think,
Mhm.
and his team was like, "Hey, do you want to send some stuff for him to wear?" Because we did a footwear collab, but they were like, "If you want to send some stuff for him to wear, like we'll get it to him. Like we can't make him wear it, but like we'll see." And we sent some stuff, and he started popping out in like sweatsuit here and there, whatever. And he ended up getting injured, and he wore one of our varsity jackets courtside. Well, he was on the bench because he was hurt, but he wore one of our jackets on the bench during a game. And it just so happened that ESPN, I think it was ESPN, one of them, I don't remember what channel, it was ESPN or TNT. One of them did an interview with him like at halftime. And so it's just like a 5-10 minute interview of him and in the jacket. And this is like a $500 varsity jacket, which isn't like, it's not cheap, it's not expensive, it's all perspective. It depends on what type of person you are. But that's one of our more expensive pieces. But I think we had like 75 of those jackets left in stock. I'm pretty sure after he wore the jacket, I don't think we had any left. I think he sold us out of $500 jacket, which is so interesting because some people could post, like some people with the same following could post, tag, whatever, and it could be a less expensive piece and they might not sell any of it. And so
Mhm.
to this day, 2 years later, we still haven't figured out like how is he able to sell out that, but like this less expensive stuff not sell out. And so it's just all of it is like not experimental, but like everything is just like there's no science to any of this. It's like you do something, you see the results, you try to apply those results to the next experiment. It probably never works the way you think, like, oh, we have this data, now we know what to do. And then the next time you do it and it doesn't work at all. And so everything is just kind of like you just kind of are like hoping on every release is like the ones that the products we think are going to do the worst sometimes do the best. The products we think are going to do the best hardly sell. It's just like everything is just so like like I don't want to seem like it's just up in the air, but like we would just never know. Like we're just as we're confused with every release. And this is diet's been around since 2017. Premium was around since 2011. So this is 15 years of like ecom brand experience, and we're still 15 years later. It feels like we don't have a clue. We don't have a clue what we're doing. We're just here like trying to design dope stuff, trying to take care of our consumers and supporters, trying to like keep it innovative and fun and give you quality product that's going to last as long as product can last. Um, but it's just every step along the way is just where it's almost like Russian roulette. It's kind of like wondering if the gun's gonna go off or not in a
Yeah.
good way.
Well, I will say as somebody who's been following you guys for a while, like I think you have it figured out a lot more than you give yourself credit. So,
No,
but
I think we do a good job of making it seem like we do. Just honestly speaking, I mean, and granted, we take all of this data and analytics, like we analyze everything. Like we have spreadsheets of information that people probably wouldn't even believe we have, because we do take it that seriously. And we apply it and we really try to like get it down to a science. It's just it's kind of just like it's in God's hands. I think like we try to make the best decision that we can, and they are like calculated decisions. But like if you saw the results of these experiments based on our data, you would see like, yeah, they they that didn't go the way they thought it was going to go. But I know that that's everybody. Like we do collabs with some of the biggest corporations, and the one thing that has taught me is that every company is trying to figure it out. Like the biggest of the biggest, like you get to work with them and you're like, damn, this shit is it's kind of like hectic in here, and like they're the top of the top. So that's comforting because it shows us like, okay, like nobody really has it figured out.
Yep, absolutely. I also wanted to know from a creative perspective, what would you say inspires you? Is it, other brands that you're a big fan of? Is it, when, you go on vacation and can kind of unplug and just kind of like let those creative thoughts marinate? Like where do you really draw your inspiration from?
Yeah, I mean, vacation for sure. Um, like history, like diet's aesthetic is very vintage. I don't know why, but like for some reason, I'm personally like always like recreating things from my past, like that I grew up seeing as a kid. So like my history is like a big inspiration. Vacation, like even here, like I'm in Palm Springs, and my hope is to like walk away from here with like a few ideas to take into like summer 26. I think shopping, like I don't buy other brands. Like I'll wear like the homies brands, but I don't really just like go to like a store and just buy like see something I like and buy it. Like I don't that's just not the type of, I guess, consumer I am. One, because I make everything that I could want, unless it's like something that I don't make, then maybe I'll buy it or whatever. But when I do go, I go to stores and I just like look to see like, oh, this brand, they applied this technique on here. Like what could that look like for diet? And I remember my homies, or two of my homies have a brand called Diallo, Tyrod Taylor and Dex Rob. But I ran into Dex a year, a little over a year ago, and they haven't been around that long, but he was like, man, I'm trying to figure out like, I don't remember what I was wearing, but he was like, I'm trying to figure out what our version of that is. And now I see he's kind of, there's what he was referring to, they're rolling out now, and it's getting a lot of praise. Dex he's one of the goats, but um, that's kind of like what I do as well. Is I'll see things, and I won't just go and just like copy what they did. But I'll take inspiration from like, oh, they did this on this cardigan, which was cool, but that part doesn't really, that's not what resonates with me and our brand. But like taking it, doing this and putting it on this, like that kind of resonates with our brand. So some of it is just kind of like seeing things that I like, but like maybe it wasn't executed the way I thought it should be executed. And I feel like we could do a better job at it. I will say that I've kind of, we haven't figured out if it's been a blessing or like a hindrance, but like a lot of the times I'll have like an idea that somebody else has done that maybe I hadn't seen, or maybe I didn't remember it or whatever. But then when it comes to my attention that there is this other brand that has it, I usually just like bow out and be like, they already did it. Like I don't want to touch it. The only time I ever really like will touch that is if I could add something to it to make it better. Um, Everybody always says that like imitation is the best form of flattery and like stuff like that. I don't buy into that. Um, Virgil had a quote about something about taking ideas and changing it X amount. I somewhat buy in to that just because there's only so many there's only so many things that can be done, and just in general, like some stuff is possible, some stuff is not possible, like, especially when it comes to garments and construction and things like that. So, um, like I said, I'll see things and figure out like, okay, how do we take that above and beyond? Same with like the restaurant and stuff. Like we haven't revisited it because I haven't figured out a way to elevate it. If I can't elevate it, I don't want to do it. So um but yeah, traveling, seeing stuff in hand, uh necessity, like if there's like if I'm like, man, I this is missing from my closet, like what does that look like? What does that feel like? I picked up boxing probably like 2 years ago, and product around that space is like very, I won't say untapped, but untapped from like our point of view. So like there's like stuff that I'm like, oh, like if I had this, like that would make my experience in the gym a little bit easier and things like that. So a lot of it is just like getting out and seeing stuff. Um, I I think that a lot of people try to overcomplicate the clothing, and I think that's one thing that like we've never really like. Somebody asked me like, "Oh, well, how do you figure out like if you're designing 18 months ahead of time, like how do you know what's going to be trendy 18 months from now?" And I'm like, "I don't." And that's I don't design around trends. Like if you look at all of our stuff forever, like you'll see like baggy pants and stuff like that now, 'cause baggy pants are in, but I'm never like I'm never just like going out and jumping on like I'm trying to think of like some trends that people jumped on, but I don't I just want to design what I want to wear. And if that happens to land around the time that other people are wearing it, cool. But um not playing into the trends for us it's been a beneficial thing because we have product that we designed in 2017 that people still wear because it wasn't a trendy piece. It was just a timeless piece that we feel like people could wear forever. I think living in that timelessness is really where I like reside. So um my most of my stuff just comes from like, okay, like I feel like I want a bigger short to wear this summer opposed to a short short. So I'll design a bigger short, or I want a cutoff sweat short. Like I'll notice what like a couple months ago, I've just had the urge to like cut these pants I have into shorts, and I've been wearing them a lot. And everybody's like, "Oh, like when are those shorts coming? When are those shorts coming?" I'm like, "Well, technically, they're just pants that you could go and buy from us now and cut." Um, but you kind of notice like having done this for so long, when we had Premium Co. and I was trying to like incorporate graphics into the things, and the customers weren't really like into it. It's because graphics weren't like popular at that time, but I was feeling like, okay, I'm tired of only having these basic shirts to wear every day. I need some graphics. And then a year later, like graphic tees explode and they're everywhere. And so what we've kind of said is like when we as the owners and designers kind of like start to feel like something's missing in the closet, that's about the time that a shift is starting to take place. And right now, like graphics are still huge, but I think that people are wanting to kind of like tone it down a little bit, like every now and then. So um, I think we're starting to get to a point where it's like it's less like this or that. So like when the skinny jeans were in, if you wore like a non-skinny jean, it was the worst fashion decision ever. Like your jeans were too baggy. And now it's the opposite. Jeans are baggy. If you wear a skinny jean, it's like the worst thing ever. But I think now like I am seeing brands start to get away with like a slimmer jean but still having the baggy ones. And I think it's starting to just blend to where like a customer can buy the skinny jean from us or the baggy jean from us. A customer can buy the graphic tee from us or the basic tee from us because Monday they may be in a skinny jean, Tuesday they may be in a baggy jean and a graphic tee. And I think that the world's meaning like the types of fashion that exist. I think it's now starting to be to where it's more common and more commonly accepted to just wear what you want, like whatever day of the week. Like I said, you may be skinny jean one day, you may be baggy, you may be cargo short, you may be a jort. Like now people can just kind of have the free reign to make their choice. But yeah, I mine is always just it's just always out of necessity and like what I need, what my partners my partners may be like, oh, I need this for the summer, and then we'll see like if I can make something cool in that space, and then that's usually how it comes about for us. I think there's enough inspiration out there already to just kind of I think there's so many things too that just like maybe just hit at the wrong time to where they didn't get the credit or the respect that they should have then. Um, and so some stuff is like trying to pay homage to things like that. Like I said, I grew up in an area where we were kind of limited to what we could find, and some of the stuff I design is based on the fact that I couldn't I couldn't partake in this style that was around in 98 because maybe I couldn't find it or whatever. So a lot of it just comes down to the storytelling and showing people like this is the story behind this. Like if you don't like it, like much respect to each their own. But if you do like it, then perfect. We have three colors for you that release the next 3 months. So um we just again we design it and we hope that people support it.
Right, right. Okay, so final question. What else can everybody expect from Diet Starts Monday for the rest of the year? I know on Instagram you just announced the big partnership with the Yankees. Congrats on that. And definitely doesn't have to be what you and I talked about off camera, but what else can customers expect?
So we have what month are we in? August. So I think September we're doing Family Style Fest in LA with a Chinese tea room in LA. And for those that don't know, Family Style Fest is it's like a food festival meets fashion festival. So restaurants and companies team up with brands and they usually create some type of apparel product or something while the restaurants kind of have their whatever their normal if it's a food if it's a restaurant or if it's for this instance it's a tea room, so they're going to have like a booth with like this like tea garden set up and like all of this stuff. So that's September. You'll also find us in the new NBA 2K. So this will be the first time that Diet Starts Mondays in NBA 2K. I don't even really know. I don't even know. I think you can just go on. Your created player can wear our merch or something. I haven't played 2K in a few years, so I don't even know how it works now. Complex Con in Vegas is in October. We'll be there. And then I have I have a couple collaborations that are like very late to very late to the calendar, but very early stages as well. As you one being I can say them because it's not like there's no weirdness about it, but one
Mhm.
with the Spurs, one with Vanderbilt University, uh, one potentially with the Lakers, fingers crossed. Um, and then we have, are you, I know actually you said you were big on college sports. So you know Jimmy V and the V Foundation.
Oh, of course. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we're doing a project with the V Foundation as well for December around Jimmy V week. Um, and so just naturally, like a lot of our collaborations for this year are around the sports space. Um, and then our normal schedule as well, like our fall collection will release in September, and then holiday will be October and December. A few more collaborations along the way that we can't speak on yet, uh, but yeah, I mean we're around. We're always trying to. I think the collaboration side is a space that we've dabbled in a little bit, but we haven't really like maximized like our efforts in that space. So hopefully 2026 we can kind of get a few more of those out into the world. But and then January will be our first time at Paris Fashion Week. So now we're kind of looking to just really expand internationally. We really focused on like diet so far has been kind of like a 3 chapter book so far. The first chapter was like just launching direct to consumer and really trying to figure out like what our customers wanted from us. Then chapter 2 was taking that concept to retail and selling to hundreds of stores nationwide. And now the chapter 3 will be expanding internationally and seeing how we can grow that business internationally. Um, and then chapter 4, who knows what that will entail. But yeah, those are the kind of most important kind of upcoming pieces. Complex Con, if I don't know when this will go live, but Complex Con is the I think like the 22nd through 22nd, 23rd of October. So anybody that sees this that comes to Complex Con, definitely come find our booth. Last time you really had to search for us because they had us in a wild no man's land. But hopefully this time we have better floor positioning. Um, but yeah, that's where we'll be. Other than that, you can find us on Instagram, TikTok, all the socials that the kids use these days. So we're
That's
around.
great. Yeah, and this will go live well before that, so people will have time to plan for that. So, well, Davin, thanks so much for joining. This was such a wonderful conversation. Really appreciate all your insights and learning more about the brand, and can't wait to see it continue to grow and evolve.
Thank you for having me. I've said this on a podcast or two before, but again, you get so wrapped up in the business side of things that you really don't always take a step back to like just kind of examine how things are going. And so I always walk away kind of feeling like they were therapy sessions for me to like just I mean, because this industry, this brand ownership thing is it's a very tough space to navigate. So these podcasts, I definitely don't shy away from them because if I just held it all in, I probably would explode. So I appreciate you just like acknowledging me and the brand and wanting to have me on and hear some of my story. So definitely appreciate you.
Of course, you're very welcome.